Imagine this. King David is now ruling over Israel. The battles are finally calming down, the kingdom is strong, and David has time to think back on the people who meant something to him. One person stands out in his heart: Jonathan, David's best friend. Jonathan wasn't just a friend, he was like a brother. They made a promise to each other years before, a covenant of loyalty and kindness. So one day, in the quiet of his palace, David asks a surprising question. Is there anyone left from Jonathan's family that I can show kindness to? Everyone around him knows what kings usually do. When a new king takes the throne, they remove any old royal family members who might challenge their power. But David isn't that kind of king. He wants to show kindness, not revenge. A servant named Ziba speaks up. He says, "There is someone."
Jonathan est son.
His name is Mephibosheth, but he is crippled in both feet. In that time, disabilities often pushed people to the edges of society. But David doesn't hesitate. "Bring him to me." And that's where our story truly begins. Far away in a quiet place called Lodabar, Mephibosheth hears the news. The king has summoned you. Can you imagine the fear? He's the grandson of Saul, the former king. In his mind, there's only one reason King David would call him: to finish what the old war began. With trembling hands and unsure steps, Mephibosheth is brought to Jerusalem. He enters the palace, overwhelmed by the grandeur. Soldiers, pillars, gold, and the king himself. As soon as he comes before David, he falls on his face and says, "Your servant is here." David speaks gently, "Do not be afraid." Those words change everything. David continues, "I will show you kindness because of your father Jonathan. I'm giving you back all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table." Mephibosheth is stunned. He sees himself as broken, forgotten, unworthy. He says, "What is your servant, that you should notice a dead dog like me?" But David sees more than brokenness. He sees worth, identity, and belonging. David doesn't just give Mephibosheth land. He doesn't just give him honor. He gives him something deeper: a seat at the king's table every day as one of his own sons. And from that day on, Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem, eating at King David's table, treated like royalty, even though life had left him broken. The story could have ended differently. David had every cultural and political reason to ignore Mephibosheth, but he chose kindness. He chose loyalty. He chose grace. And that's the heartbeat of this story. Grace looks at the forgotten and says,
You belong.
"You belong." Grace pulls up a chair for the broken. Grace restores what was lost. Like Mephibosheth, many of us feel unworthy, overlooked, not enough. But this story reminds us that where people see brokenness, God sees value. Where we expect judgment, God offers a seat at his table. David welcomed Mephibosheth, not because he earned it, but because of love, covenant, and grace. And that same grace is offered to us today.